And since a lot of people always ask me how I organize my samples, and even more important, where I get my samples, let's maybe make this the main topic of this video. Welcome to another episode, to another daily vlog. I'm right here next to my studio. I'm still hesitating to go outside because it's like 38 degrees and it's not even close to noon. This will be one of the hottest days in Germany by far, which makes music producing a lot harder than usually. First, of course, because it's warm. Second, because all of your friends call you and want to hang out with you and drink beer and just do nothing. So, yeah, let's still try and accomplish something today, at least something. Whoa! This already helps, at least a little. So since I'm not really feeling like making music and really concentrating, and since I finished now 5 complete songs for the album, it's kind of not halftime, but like the first third is done. And I've been non-stop grinding, non-stop working, day and night, like really 24/7, not taking a single day off since I started with the album. So I think now is like a phase of like 1, maybe 2 weeks where I want to slow things down and like reconsider all of the drafts that I did for the other songs. Make sure to adjust them according to the 5 ones that are already done, maybe going back to the 5 ones that are done and readjusting them. There are millions of factors I have to consider, and at the end I want to deliver something that I really, truly, absolutely love. But you know me, there is no way I'm just sitting here and doing absolutely nothing. So I think I will use the day to do some organizational things that have to do with music production. Backups, samples, installing new plugins, testing them, and then yeah, more samples again. I think for the new album I need a bunch more samples, especially kick samples. They're extremely important, especially for electronic dance music, and also like basically for every kind of music. The kick is nowadays the foundation and makes up the most of the song, like frequency wise. The low end was very heavy, and having the right ones definitely helps. And since a lot of people always ask me how I organize my samples, and even more important, where I get my samples, let's maybe make this the main topic of this video. It's not that exciting, I think, like it's nothing flashy, controversial or anything, but it's still important. It's the foundation of every single song you will ever make. And if you don't have the right sounds, and I hear in a lot of track submits that people use wrong kicks, it will definitely make mixing and constructing the entire song a lot harder. I think at the moment the best options definitely Splice, and by Loopmaster Plugin Boutique they have this Loop Cloud, both of them basically the same. You can browse online samples and sounds and loops, and whenever you find anything you like, you just download it to your hard drive, put it into your DAW, and you can use it. And I think you pay like around 10 bucks per month to use it. You have a certain amount of samples you can download. If you download more, you have to pay more, but once you download them, they're yours and they're free to use, royalty free. You can build with them whatever you want. A second source, and that's the one I still rely on the most, are actually the samples that I have on my computer. Most of them are old sample packs. That's like the old school way to get samples on CDs actually, and these are made by professionals that either sample from other songs, which isn't really legal, but no one can actually say where it was sampled, or they construct kicks themselves and make them kind of fit into that sample pack. The downside of both of these methods, like the online samples and the samples you get on CDs, they were made by people that actually don't make any music usually. These are specialized sample creating people, and these samples, they might sound nice on their own because that's the main focus of them. They make these kicks and just the kick, and usually they try to make the kick as fat as possible so that you buy the sample pack, or that you go through the kicks and think, wow, they're all really fat. But the problem is a fat kick or too fat kick will make mixing a lot harder. So these kicks aren't necessarily constructed for using them in a song. That's my main problem whenever I choose the kick sample. There's a lot you have to do with it, tuning of course, but then also usually shortening it a lot because they usually put way too much low end in there, way too long sustained kind of kick tails that are not necessary. They will just muddy up your mix. The shorter the kick, the better actually for the mix. If it's too short, of course, you won't have the punch anymore. So in a nutshell, they make samples that sound good on their own, but that are not necessarily good to be included in a song, because they don't use these kicks to construct songs and then sample these kicks. So actually my best #1 source for kick samples in particular, but also for snares and hi-hats, is actually my own sample collection. I've collected millions and millions of samples. Some of them I created myself, some of them are tweaked ones out of these sample packs, because usually out of 100, one by accident kind of then actually fits into creating a song. And I can just recommend to every producer on this planet to have your own sample folder with like 10, 15, 20 kicks that are working, that you've already used on other tracks where you know you can actually build a track with these. Every time trying to find a new one is very time consuming, and especially if you jam or have a session and you want to work fast and make it sound good fast, it's better to take a kick where you already know that it's working. So right here on my desktop is a huge folder called samples, and within it is one John samples, which is mostly kicks again, because I think these are like the hardest to come by and the most important in the production process. I think, yeah, 124 kicks in there. And if you're interested to get exactly the same ones, the ones that I've bounced out of my project that I've used countless times on probably all of my tracks, there's a link in the description. You just have to sign up and you will get access to all of these samples, plus all of the past John Sine sounds and samples that were free downloads and are still free downloads, plus all of the additions that were made by the Accents artist. So I think around 4 GB of samples, plus construction kits, which is actually pretty nice. I did that a while ago. It was paid only, now it's for free. If you sign up, first link in the description. It's basically Logic projects, I think 6 or 5, with like melodies in there, chords in there, guitars in there, and also audio versions for all the ones that don't use Logic. So yeah, trying to organize all of them, name them, and yeah, new plugins installing, which is always a little bit annoying. I got like 4 or 5 new synthesizers, a couple new reverbs, EQs. I want to test them the entire day and make sure they actually fit in my working process. And hopefully eventually, if I like them, also make a small video about them to share these kind of news and these new plugins that open up new opportunities with all of you. And before I end the video, I know this one is short and not that exciting, but really the rest of my day is just sitting here organizing and then hopefully going outside, enjoying a little bit of the sun, maybe with a beer or something like that. I got a sample pack coming up on SKYPE, actually, my first official artist sample pack. It will be out on the 9th of August. I will of course let you know about it. We're also doing like a small remix contest, plus a huge giveaway, so definitely stay tuned.
Don't you want to be by your side?